on their own thing. So I just like it. But the way he's got it now is like it's set up to where he can just cut between those shots and it exports as like one video.
Oh, nice.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's pretty easy. But Brody Cey, man, welcome to the show, man.
How we doing?
I'm so glad you're on, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've been waiting for this episode for a long time, man. Like I'm excited to get you on. You know, we've talked a bunch throughout the last like season and stuff. It's been fun. But you went to Lincoln Way East, right?
West.
Lincoln Way West.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because I have a friend.
That's the orange one. Everybody gets confused. So,
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit smaller than East and a couple less rings. So.
Because I have a friend who went to East. I think it was East. He was just on this one recently. We make music together. We had class together last semester.
Oh, what's he our age?
He's younger. He's 20.
Okay. So he just graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been like the last couple of years.
Yeah.
His name is Rod. He's cool. But you know, did you see he was just talking about Lincoln Way East on their own podcast?
No.
Travis Kelce
Oh,
was just. Apparently, he's got like a homie.
I mean, he's always talking. He's in commercials, doing podcasts, ESPN. Was he practicing? That's my question.
Yeah, and the commercials that he's on is pretty funny too. You know, like the Pfizer commercials and all those things. It just conveniently is in the Super Bowl now, and conveniently he's dating Taylor Swift.
We're going. Yeah, I saw that conspiracy. I don't know what I think about it.
Do you believe? Okay, let me ask you. Do you think straight up? Do you think the NFL is scripted?
No, but I do think they're probably have the refs influence it a little bit if they can.
Yeah.
But I just feel like football is too hard to script.
Yeah.
And there's too many guys that don't like the league, and I feel like if they left, they would expose the league.
Yeah, it's true. That's kind of like for the longest time, bro. Like up until the Baltimore Chiefs game, I was like, "There's no way that the NFL is scripted." Exactly like what you said. The things are too close. You know, like the some of the plays that happen to like that change the game are like, there's no way that could be replicated. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think so at least. But then I see like you know, the Chiefs making it to the Super Bowl and the whole Taylor Swift thing and the whole Pfizer thing. And like, okay, let me just ask you this: like, regardless if the NFL is scripted or not, how much money do you think the NFL, Pfizer, Taylor Swift is making throughout them being together in the season and going to the Super Bowl now?
I know the NFL, I saw it, I just read it, made $300 million off of the Taylor Swift. And I read that 16% of all U.S. consumers were influenced to buy NFL gear because of like Taylor Swift. Like, so they're cashing in.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I read it. I don't know.
I saw that the Swifties were like, anytime there was like a Chiefs game, like they were like buying all the tickets out, like like the tickets were selling out just because there was an off chance Taylor Swift might be there. Like, how do you even explain that? Like, I honestly didn't even know Taylor Swift was that big of a. I didn't know she was like a world star.
I feel like she like blew up. Like before the Travis Kelce thing, like remember because her tickets were going like with that whole, I forget what it was, but their tickets selling out and everybody was trying to get them. And then now, I don't even know. I'm just, get her, I don't want to watch it anymore.
I know, man. Dude, literally, it's funny. Like every time we were watching it, man, like every time they would cut the Taylor Swift, we'd be like raging in the basement because it's like, I mean, it's just annoying, bro.
I kept saying, "Where's Lamar's girlfriend? Show her after he scores."
Exactly.
What about Flowers? Where's his girlfriend? Show her after they score. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's like the Taylor Swift thing. Like, yeah. So anyway, what I was saying, like, I was like, there's no way the NFL is scripted, bro. Until like, did you see like did you watch the AFC Championship game this year?
Yeah, I did.
You see how I thought the Ravens pissed down their leg more than the refs. I thought they did all right. But the Ravens played so bad, dude. I was like, I don't know.
It's just insane. Lamar Jackson has been at MVP level all year. And, like, I get it, it's the Chiefs, but I don't know. His level of play went so low in that game. And there was just, like, I mean, I saw that they threw 83% of the time, which isn't really their game. They usually run the ball a lot more than that. So they kind of got away from what they usually do, too.
So let's just say for a moment the NFL is scripted. How would you, it's like you were saying, how would you even keep that under wraps? It has to be like a certain amount of people that are involved. Like, who would it be? Maybe the refs, maybe not. Maybe just like definitely like the managers, like the CEOs, the owners, maybe Roger Goodell. I don't know about like the players and stuff. Cause like, I don't know if you saw that like goal line when he fumbled it over into the touchback, like on the goal line midair. Like, how could you do that? I don't know if that could be scripted or not.
Yeah, and like when the turnovers happen, like when you see turnovers that influence the game, I mean they are usually pretty good plays. You rarely see where like a ball just slips out of a guy's hand or and I mean, was it Flowers who was like you'll see Lamar like go to the sideline, he's throwing his helmet, which I'm not a fan of, but like you see they got emotion in it and it seems like they wanted to win, but what about the NFC Championship?
It's funny because we were talking about this too, and it's like NFC North. Like I'm a huge Bears fan, so like, yeah, the NFC North, like having the Lions win would be cool, but like I had Brock Purdy and McCaffrey on my fantasy team all year, so I like had already been cheering for them all year. So like I low-key had the mindset of like, damn, I'm cheering for the 49ers, but
I just don't know how you don't take the points at the end, Dan Campbell. I like that guy a lot, but how do you not take? I mean, that's the second time he didn't convert on fourth down. He didn't go back on his word. I saw after he's like, I don't regret it. That's what they did all year. So,
man, we were talking about this. Man, we were talking about everything already, but it's like, yeah, I was literally saying, kick it, kick it, kick it, kick it, kick it, both times.
you got to give him a chance.
He would have been up by 6. He would have had 6 more points. Oh my gosh. I don't know. What do you think about going for it on fourth down? Do you like doing it or like situationally maybe?
Situationally, I would never do it in my own end. It's hard because it depends on the type of team you are. If I got like a heavy pass offense, I think I'd probably go for it more if I'm primarily run, just because I don't know. And how many yards do you think? At what point is it no longer acceptable to go for it on fourth down? Like let's say you're on the opposite 40, and you want to go for it, like 4th and 4, 4th and 7, 4th and 1.
See, I am more of a defensive mindset, but like for me, I'm like I would be super conservative if I was a play caller. Like it's got to be like real close for me to go for it, and I got to have like real faith in my O line and get us because like I don't know, like defense. I just think like yes, there's a whole like O line if we can't get 1 yard, but 1 yard's a lot harder than it's made out to be, especially when you got D line and stuff. I don't know, like. Let me ask you this, like, because you play quarterback.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're like pre-snap, what do you even like? What goes through your head in the quarterback spot?
Well, that's a very
Probably a lot.
yeah. So I'm walking up. I'm thinking about what the play is because, like, in the huddle, if you do huddle, like you're just spitting what the play is. You don't really aren't thinking about it before, just because you got to get everybody lined up. Then you're thinking about like all the motions you got to go through. And then if it's a run, you're gonna like check for like if you got to check with me play, you're gonna look for the 3 techniques lined up and either kill it to the next play. On a pass, that's even more because same thing, got to go up there with the motion. Then you're reading coverage. Then you're seeing if any guys are playing tight. You have a matchup with your best player. You're looking to see if any guys are gonna roll down, and then I mean honestly, once the ball's snapped, it's just instinct from there. You got to trust that you're able to do what you've been practicing.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know like I talked to some guys who say like reading the coverage pre-snap is like a must, like trying to decipher what it is. So like it's funny because like as a DB's coach now, it's like now hearing like from that perspective, it's like was that true? Like you try to if it's like let's say a pass play is called, are you like scanning to look at the DBs to see what coverage you're in, or like how does that work?
Yeah, you're definitely scanning and throughout the week. You probably have some cues too, like if a safety is lined up, even like 2 yards, like a little closer to line of scrimmage than usual, you can kind of because a lot of high school defenses don't really disguise their coverage at all. They kind of just line up. So like if they are going to disguise it, it's pretty easy because you see guys rolling because they don't practice. I mean, they're young, they haven't practiced it that much. But honestly, that's why I think like. From an offensive mind, if high school coaches more commonly disguise their coverage, like even if it's just a simple disguise, you're gonna mess with the high school quarterback's brain because he's just learning the basics and then he's got to execute. If you start messing with him, that can get him out of rhythm too, lower his confidence, which you don't think it's like that big of a deal, but it can happen very easily and it affects your game a lot if you're a quarterback.
Yeah,
because you have to be confident.
Yeah, because I like one thing I'm trying to put in for next year is cloud coverage. Because it starts out, it's a cover 2 look. So like before when we were doing cover 3, it was one safety rolls down to play the skiff, and then one safety takes the high middle, and then both the corners drop back to take the outside verts, right? Or like that's the thirds,
right?
But the cloud coverage is instead of dropping a safety, you keep one corner in the flat, and then you have you snap the ball with 2 high safeties. But on the snap, they roll to where one safety is middle of the field and one safety rolls over the flat corner, and the other corner bails to deep third. So it's aligned as cover 2, so you have 2 high safeties, 2 flat corners, and then on the snap, corners, one corner stays in the flat, whichever way you call it. The other one bails, and then you roll 2 safeties over. It's called cloud coverage, but I've been trying to put that in because it's like it's a beast, man. Like it's
So essentially, you have so the corner is going to play the flat, and then the safety is going to play the deep third.
Yeah, so both safeties will.
Okay.
So like the way we run it now is if we're doing a 4-3 or a 3-4, it's like the both 4-3 or 3-4 cover 3 is one safety rolls down to play the skiff, which is the seam curl flat, kind of like the flat area.
Right.
The other outside backer will play the other skiff, and then we have corner for deep thirds, high safeties for deep middle. And that way, that frees up an outside backer to blitz or whatever else, because you're rolling down that safety to bro. That's why I love defense, bro, because it's like the defense is so different than offense, but at the same time, like I don't know, I wouldn't say it's better and more fun. Like I would say that because I am on the defensive side, for morale purposes.
Right. But
I don't know, maybe it's interesting hearing you say that quarterback is like reacting, because that's exactly how I would describe playing the secondary. Like but even more so, I think, like when I was playing safety and stuff, like my brain was just empty, dude. Like I wasn't thinking about nothing.
And I think that's similar in both those positions, because thinking in that second is the difference between you throwing it behind your receiver and it getting intercepted, or right on time and he's getting 5 yards after the catch. And that's the difference between getting burned deep. You just got to turn and run and just hope, like, at the end of the day, I mean, you've practiced it, but it's so hard, like, when the eyes are on you, like, especially when you're a young player, to just accept the fact that, like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to question myself and just play. Because even if you do make a mistake and at least you did it fast, you got a shot. But when you think about it and then you just sit there and you're like, oh, that's when you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your favorite offense to run? Do you have one?
So we ran, like, the spread, kind of like U-High in my high school. And they let me run the read option a lot, so I like that. Yeah. Wow. So we throw it a decent amount. We had a really, really good running back named Caleb Marconi, and he was a 3-year starter. So he made it pretty. He'd stack the box, or the defense would stack the box for him, and then we could sling it around a little bit. Like, I didn't get to play much varsity ball though, because I hurt my shoulder in the 4th week, broke it, and had to have surgery. So, but I did have fun in those 4 games. That was a good time.
Yeah. I had a similar story. Like I actually started varsity as a freshman at corner, and we weren't that good that year. But then my sophomore year, I started free safety. We went to the playoffs. And then, so I was like getting those, the reps early, like varsity reps. And then going into my junior year, we were like, we were feeling good. We just waited the playoffs last year. We lost first round to Carlinville, but, like it was like, was it 2012? It was freaking, they went to the second round of the playoffs, Plains did. And then 2013, I was a freshman, and we didn't do that well. 2014, I was a sophomore. We went to the playoffs. I played free safety. 2015, I was playing free safety as a junior, and we were playing Williamsville. It was actually, I don't know if you've heard of Williamsville. They were in the state championship last year for 3A. But it was the only time that the Pleasant Plains had ever beat Williamsville in the regular season. And but my helmet came off, bro, like during a play, and I got domed. And I like woke up in the hospital. Like I don't remember much.
You don't remember even leaving?
Bro, I don't remember much of anything from that year. Like it was bad, bro. It was lucky bad, bro. And then basically they were like, "You're done." Like, cause I was like set on playing college football, bro. I was like, I'm gonna play college football. Like I had, I actually had come in going into my junior year, going into my sophomore year, came and did like a camp here at ISU. I got invited to for the football team, and then of course like the little schools too, like Illinois College and Millikan and stuff, but. Yeah, so like I was hyped, and then my helmet came off, got domed, couldn't play anymore. Going into my senior year, it was like, I really like the team same way at U-High, like they voted for the captains.
Yeah.
So like I had played for so long and been a member or been around, so the team still voted me to be a captain going into my senior year, even though I like couldn't. So I was basically like I went to like the team doctor, the athletic trainer, Brody, and was like, dude, like you got like this is come on, like give me one more shot, and they basically were like, "Oh yeah, like we'll give you one more shot, but like if you take any more hits to the head, like you have, like you're done, because you could, it's brain damage. Like it
Yeah.
can really be serious, And as a 16-year-old kid, you're not really thinking about that too much. You're seeing all your friends play football, and that's the only thing that you've really done up until this point with your life, and you can't do it anymore. So it sucked, but anyway. So I started. I was like, they were like, "Yeah, we'll give you one more shot." So like I did the whole off season, going into the summer, but they moved me back to corner because the idea was, as a corner, you're probably not going to be coming downhill tackling running backs as much as a safety would. Like, like safeties have to fill the holes, whereas cornerbacks are really more outside contained.
Right.
Like I'm sure you've seen like more skinnier, fast guys on the corner versus. And I was senior year, I could keep up, at this point. But we were actually at EIU for our camp because that's where it started. That was the first year of Brody taking everyone to EIU, and just was playing. Went up for a pass, defended it, and then just my leg got caught up, came down, hit my head, and it was done. It was over.
And then it's just weird because, like, then guys will play 20 years and not have one injury, Oh, man. But, like, that's what you said something about. You were said on playing college ball. You learn a lot about, like, what you loved about the game in college because, like, it's really different because the most fun I had, I always had fun playing, but from the time I was little, I'm from a small town, so we had a small town team. And growing up, we would just get blasted by every other JFL team. Like, we didn't start, and then we hit puberty our 8th grade year, and it was just fun because it's like we didn't care about winning. Like, we did care about winning, but it taught us, like, how to lose and also, like, toughened us up because we just got beat up every year. And then by the time you get into high school, it toughens you up. You have those bonds, and I thought we had a really good bond. But then you go to college, and it's like I don't even know the guy I'm playing next to, and we're supposed to be really good at communicating. He's a senior. I'm a freshman, or he's a sophomore. Like, there's different, like, I feel like at least in high school a little bit, everybody kind of knows each other. But then, like, you get to college and you're like, I don't even know the guy next to me. How are we supposed to, like, be on the same page all the time?
Yeah. My brother, my oldest brother, he played at Greenville College football, and he's had the same thing. He didn't end up playing all 4 years either. He played like 1.5, 2 years, and then he was describing it as like feeling more of like a job than it was like fun, like a sport. Is that what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what you have to do at that level. It's unfortunate. And, like, when you're, like, there's a lot of different reasons people might not play or enjoy it. But, like, when you're not reaping the benefits of how much work you put into it, you wake up which is what you have to do to be a good program. You wake up at 6, you got lifts, then you go to class. You come back in the middle of the day for middle of the day meetings, game plan. Then you go back to class, and then you got practice from 6 to 8. Then you got, you got to recover after practice, eat, do homework. It's every day. It's day in, day out. I mean, then you got game day on Saturday. Then for us, when I was in college, we'd have 6-hour practices on Sunday. And then they'd be like, why is everyone hurt?
At Wesleyan?
Yeah.
6-hour practices on Sunday?
Yeah, we'd lift, we'd run sprints, then we'd run distance, and then we'd have meetings. One time after Wheaton beat us by 56, our coach had us play dodgeball for some reason.
During the season?
Yeah. We came in to play dodgeball after we lost by 56. I was like, okay.
Was he just like, this is a clown show?
I guess so. I don't know.
It's always astounding to me, like, the amount of detail that goes into being a good program. Because, like, if you take anything, football or anything, if you get people or a group especially that are just, that's their purpose, is just maximizing the results in that particular field, like it's really crazy, like the level of obsessiveness and the level of production that can come from that. Like watching the film all the time. I don't know if you've seen like the Hard Knocks. I'm sure you've seen Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Did you watch the one from Miami this season?
Yeah, I did.
That was good, bro.
Yeah, it was.
And just seeing like that's at the highest level. Like that's all. I mean, they get paid for it, obviously, but like
Right.
all day, every single day, watching film, working footwork, doing drills. It's like it's just crazy that it's crazy to me that it even gets to that level. Like that, in order to be good, you have to exercise this much effort to make it to be successful. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It just blows my mind a little bit.
And I think like that's true. And like for players, I thought that was like, as a player, I was like, yeah, this is a lot of, like, it's hard, but like I loved it obviously because I loved football. But then I came and I coached at U High and I was like, no. Coaching is way harder because like everything that goes into it. Because I don't know, like the amount of film you're watching. I mean, we very rarely had a day off. Like we in JV games, freshman games, and then varsity games, meetings, and everything. And it's crazy because as a player, you don't have any idea. You think coach, watch film, and you were off on Saturday, so it's fine. But and then like even when we're doing something, like Brody's always thinking about football. Jake's always thinking about football. Everybody's always thinking about football. Like it never leaves, and it's like the amount of detail it takes to put in, like, I just know because I was on the offensive side, like the things Brody would notice on film, and it's like you had to watch film for a long time to like see that pattern and be able to be like, okay, I'm going to put that in my game plan now to expose that. And it's just like, so yeah, I don't think a lot of people know how much effort and time goes into coaching too, especially when you're not even the one going to be on the field, like reaping the benefit of playing,
Right.
like with the adrenaline. That was always the best part,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially for us too. Like you high, like it's like you were saying, bro. There's something to be said about the cohesion whenever you're like in the place where you have been around a long time. You know the people and stuff. Like we're pretty new to the program, and like we show up and it's like, man, like I had fun doing it, but it's like you're constantly like as a player you just show up and do it. You know what I'm saying? But as a coach, like I felt like I was always going in my head like, okay, how many balls am I gonna need for this drill? Where am I gonna go on the field for this drill? Okay, who's all here today? Who am I missing? Who do I need to fill in when they get back? You know what I'm saying? Like, who can I have sub in? Who's my ones? Who's my twos? Who's my threes? And the quarterback, I mean, I know you did a lot more than just the quarterback, but like, I feel like it'd be different as far as like, you have a lot more like one-on-one time and maybe a lot more like attention to detail as far as coaching goes. And I could be wrong. That's what I would think.
Yeah.
But like for DBs, like, whenever it's just me and we have like 20 guys, I'm like, my mind is like, because I'm trying to make sure that everyone's getting enough reps, making sure that I'm still and making sure the drill is going fast, but we're still doing it right. So it's like, whew.
And while you're doing that, you're battling 15, 16, 17-year-old kids after a whole day of school that just some of them want to mess around or talk with their buddies or rough house, and then you're trying to explain, and you're also trying to make sure everything's right. It's a lot. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, especially when it gets to like week 7, week 8, and it's like everyone's tired.
Yep.
Everyone's
it's
like,
cold out.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cold. Yeah,
we got lucky this year though.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the Coal City game was probably the coldest, but that was just because of the rain, I think.
That I've never seen them. Like when I was out there, I was like, this literally looks like a film from the 1920s mud bowl. I couldn't believe that was real. Like we couldn't even throw the ball because it was so moist that you couldn't even put it in your hand and put it over your head.
I had a hard time walking on the sideline.
Yeah.
And they like, man, we went up against a team that just rough and tumble, just downhill bowling ball running. What can you do about that? It's a spread offense, like it's just tough.
That's the perks of having like a violent, rough identity. Because when scheme fails, like sometimes you can out muscle the other team just with physicalness and the ground and pound game. You got to have it. Even we're really good at throwing the ball, and we were good at running the ball too. I think we just weren't as aggressive as them that day.
Do you think that mindset is dwindling in this upcoming generation as a whole?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it because I mean even my generation, like we had it pretty good, but I feel like when you hear about these older guys and how they grew up, like they were outside all the time. You hear they're like kids, like boys fight. They used to fight. You're outside all the time. They'd be tough. You're mad about stuff. Now it's like, okay, because I coach the youth teams back in Manhattan too, and like you ask them what they did, and they're like, oh, I played video games till 3 last night, and then I slept during school, and then now I'm at practice. It's like, it's just different because they don't really, they don't feel like, because then you'll ask them, like, what makes you mad? I don't know. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Like, they have no aggression. And I think also just with the way society is, when they don't know that it's okay to be aggressive when they're that young too. Like that, you need to come out here and be aggressive. This is controlled violence. It's what the game's about. It's the only place you can do it.
Exactly, bro. I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, I mean, it's like with all. I mean, yeah, I mean, even as me, like, dude, in my class, like the professor was like, "Who here was born in the '90s?" and I was the only one to raise my hand, bro, which was weird. But like, I mean, it's to be expected for me, like coming, being in the Army and stuff. Like, I knew that was gonna happen, but it was still weird. But yeah, I mean, like even for me, like I'm not obviously like super old, but like, bro, as a kid, like me and my brother, we went outside, we played outside, like we had toys, like toys were like a big thing, like we didn't have internet. We did not have internet at my house till I was like a junior in high school. So it was like we never like online gaming was not really like a thing. Like I remember we had a Xbox 360. We shared it, and we would go to my grandma's house to play online MW2 at the time. And how it started out was we shared an online account because obviously we
Right.
and we would just play at my grandma's whenever we go over there because she had internet and we didn't. But the account name was Cough Syrup, like KAUF syrup.
Yeah.
And then eventually, like that kind of just became my older brother Taylor's profile.
Yeah.
And so I went off and made my own thing, kind of, it was Cough Drop. And so that kind of stuck. It was like, I don't know, 7th grade.
Yeah.
So it's been like, and because people called me Cough Drop like at track practice and stuff when I ran too. So I was like, yeah, Cough Drop's been kind of like my alias since like 7th grade.
Nice.
So that's kind of why I like just has roll with it with the KaufdropStudios and all that kind of stuff too. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I think that with the social media and the Instagram and everything like that, it's just like, I don't know. It's like you said, like children are like more docile than they used to be. They're less adventurous. They're less like get their hands dirty and like afraid to get in trouble. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but it's I don't think it's their fault though. I think it's the society they're brought up in because, I mean, now you can't if 2 kids were in to wrestle and fight, someone would call the cops on them when that used to be like just every day. I'm not saying, I don't know, and they don't even like. Then you'll see parents that are like caught up in like, oh, I'm not even gonna let them play tackle football with their friends. It's just like let them go outside. They'll come back when the night ends. Hopefully, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with you.
But that's what my dad always says. He'd always be like, yeah, my mom or my dad would tell us, it's summer, do your chores. They did their chores, went out, and they said, all right, see you when the street lights turn on for dinner. And that's that.
Yeah, like I can only speak on like boys because I don't have any sisters or anything. I'm sure it's similar for women too, but I know for boys especially, like you have to go out and make your own mistakes. Like you have to, like I know for me at least, like I was a knucklehead in high school, bro. I was like, I was a knucklehead. But then like I had to go into the Army, and it was like the classic story, like going to the Army. Oh, that'll straighten them out, and then it kind of did. But yeah, I don't know. It's wild to me. The Army was such a wild experience, man. Like I don't know. Like I get asked all the time, like, because when someone comes up to you and they're like, "How's the Army?" Like, I don't even know how to answer that, bro. Like, because I spent 6 years in the Army and I'm still kind of freshly out. It's like, it's crazy, And then like people, what do you think about this or that? Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, when you're a soldier, like, they don't really tell you what's going on that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're hearing it, like, from the top, like, oh, this is what's going on, this is what's going on. Like, when the whole Ukraine thing popped off, like, I was nervous, bro. I was in 1st Infantry Division, and I hear Russia attacks Ukraine. I was like, we're done, bro. Like, we're screwed. And, but even, like, with the generational thing in the Army, it's apparent in there, too, because, like, the new generation of soldiers is not the same as it was when I joined, bro. Like, when I got off the bus in basic training, what they said to us, like, if I were to say that on this podcast, I'd probably get canceled, bro. Like, it was tough. It was hard, bro. It was, like, at your throat, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, you have to do this or else you suck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, with these new generation of soldiers, like, a lot of them the retention in the Army is so bad right now that they're so desperate to keep people in the Army. They, like, don't even care, bro. Like, after that whole incident happened with Russia invading Ukraine, I had asked my soldiers, like, that I worked with, we worked in an office, just the basic, what do you do if you come under contact? That's like the most basic question for a soldier, If you come under contact, what do you do? Like, if you get attacked, what do you do? And they, like, didn't know. They don't know. They didn't know. They didn't know what they were doing. I was like, okay, well, how about name one thing that you would do if you come under fire? Return fire, find cover, try to find where the fire is coming from. Like, how about some of those things? They, like, didn't know, bro.
Why are people leaving? or not? Why?
This could be a whole. I could write a book about this in and of itself. But they just at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to is they just the leaders like what it takes to become a leader in the army. It's leadership. It is leadership at the bottom of the day. Like a couple years ago, like the morale in the army was so high, everything was good. We were getting raises, like, and it's not even just about the money though. It's like the situational, like what you're living in. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're a single soldier, bro, and you don't have kids, you're not married, you have to live in the barracks. And it's like you don't really get like a choice on anything that happens in there. And it's like most of the time the barracks are like I've had barracks rooms that got put in that were like covered in mold, like not good. People die in them. Like it's crazy, man. Like and there's just countless reasons of why people get out. But here's let me break it down. So like when I left Hawaii in 2021 and moved to Kansas to get stationed there, I was teeter-tottering on the fence of like, do I want to stay in? Do I want to get out? Because like I said, like, and this is one thing that the issue that I have with school is like, the way the school system is set up is such a freaking one-way road, and it's like you're either good at this or you suck or you're a jerk off, like you're a failure. If you're not good at science, math, reading, then you're not good. That was my experience with school, right? So I can't speak on like I'm not saying that. This is what I interpreted it as like, and I wasn't that good at science. I wasn't good at math. I was okay at reading, but I thought that I just sucked, bro. And then like once I actually got in the army, I was like, I'm pretty good at this. Like I actually am doing pretty well. Like I could shoot, I could move, I could communicate. I went to competitions, did well. You know, like that plaque up there, that was like a plaque I did for a competition. I won. You know, like, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Like I'm actually doing good at this. And then the army comes and just ruins it pretty much. I mean, I won't go into the whole story because I said it before. Basically, like the breaking point for me was I got stationed in Kansas. The Afghan refugee mission, I got sent to that. 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week. I came back. The government said I owed them over $2,000 for going on the mission because paperwork got messed up pretty much. So they ended up taking money out of my check. I was getting paid $700 a month, working as an E7, but I was an E5. So basically, like working 2 levels as like if you're working as like a 2 levels above what in management what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And I was getting paid 2 levels below, and I was getting paid $700 a check. It was like $700 a check, not month. $700 a check until they took back all that money. They don't even ask; they just take it. And right when I got back from that mission, the Afghan refugee mission, they forced me to get the COVID shot. The next day, my appendix burst, or it didn't burst, but it was about to burst, and I had to go into the hospital, go into emergency surgery at like midnight. Came out of the surgery at like 3 a.m, and I looked at the nurse and was like, "Hey, I just got the COVID shot yesterday, like the second one. Like, does that have anything to do with this?" And they were like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah, I found it pretty interesting, like seeing a group of 15, 16, and 17-year-olds with heart problems. I've never seen that many on the same team before.
That's
not. They're not only are they young, but they're active. They work out every day. They're in multiple sports.
what was going through my head is like, if I have to get the shot, bro, I was like, 21? I was in the Army. I like peak physical condition. I'm like, bro, if this takes me out, then we're all screwed. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. That's just enough of that. But how's school going for you?
Oh, it's all right. Still getting indoctrinated, but we're gonna finish strong and be different than that when I get the opportunity to be a teacher. I think you should be a free thinker. You should show students where to look, not what to see. And that's something I'm going to stick by because it's just wrong that we're making kids feel like if you don't think a certain way or you were raised with different values than the professor's ideology, that you're a bad person. I think that has nothing to do with anything. I think your political opinions are completely your own, and I feel like we were built on a secret ballot for a reason. Your personality should not be your politics, and you should treat everybody with respect, whether they've write in Elmo on the ballot. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day because being an American starts on the ground, like from the ground up, and that's like taking care of each other, looking out for each other, and they don't want us to do that. So I'm gonna make sure that that's not what my classroom promotes.
I think it's so important you said that. Like, I actually just was rereading the your constitutional rights the other day because I feel like do they teach that in schools anymore? Do they teach you your constitutional rights and like make sure that students know their rights as Americans, like the right to free speech, the right to like do they I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say they do that.
They do.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a requirement. Yeah, thankfully. Right?
That's good.
Yeah.
No, but I think there's something to be said about what you were saying as far as like political being people's personality or people's being that's the only thing they want to talk about. Like, I think you're so right as far as like the American vigor, the American dream is like everyone should be able to think and do what they think is right. With the pursuit of the pursuit of happiness. Everyone should be able to entitle the pursuit of happiness. But I don't understand why they're starting to say to other people that what they can and can't do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's being limits put on things like in school. Like, I mean, it's, at least from my perspective, in university, bro, there is one political agenda being pushed, and if you're not in agreement, then you're wrong. And it's not even like you can even present an argument. You are just immediately attacked, and like it's insane. Like what you said about putting Elmo on the ballot, like you should be able to vote for anyone, and I agree with that. I think you should be able to vote. Not only should you be able to vote for anyone, but you should vote for who you think is the right candidate, whether that be, I don't care who it is, it could be anyone. But like, if you do your own research, like you were saying, and you find out your own things of like your own reasons of why you want to vote for that person, then do it. But if you're just doing it because someone else told you to, that's where I think that's wrong.
And how can you like look at yourself or others and say, I promote freedom. I think anybody should do what they want, but we're not going to let you vote for someone because that's not right. Even though he's got enough of a base that he's winning. He won a presidency before, and no one is taking Biden off the ballot. No one's taking. There's this other guy. Well, they should. I mean, they got this Dean Phillips guy. He's a Democrat too, and I mean, they're not taking him off the ballot. It's like, at the end of the day, the politicians in this country are supposed to reflect what the people want. And if the people are showing that they want something, how are you going to do everything in your power to stop it? In starting in the curriculum, today I went to a conference. They held like a history conference. I'm going to look up this guy's name. He was like the keynote speaker. He's from Wisconsin Superior. And so he started off by saying, I forget his name, but
I can help to.
Yeah, what's that?
You can look it up if you want
Yeah.
to.
I don't want to.
No, you're good. I don't understand how certain states are trying to keep names off the ballot. Like it wasn't Illinois saying they were trying to keep Trump off the ballot. How is that possible? How is that legal?
See, the thing is, it's weird because what does it even do? Because I forget which state did it in the primary, but they took Biden off the ballot, and you can just write his name in, and he won anyway. So it's like,
I think that's being too far. Regardless if Biden, Trump, or Elmo, why are they taking names? If someone wants to vote for who they want to vote for, why should they be told what they can and cannot do? That's what I don't know. I don't understand that. Like, another thing that I don't really quite understand is career politicians. Like, how could someone be a politician for an entire career? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at someone, like, if you take someone, for example, and let's say she spent her entire career as a politician, and not only as a politician, but she spent her entire career trying to be elected to the presidency and has failed to do so every single time up until this point, wouldn't you think that person would do anything it takes to finally achieve that goal? Like, if someone's goal has been to be the president for so long, like how does that make sense what I'm saying?
It does.
Like, what is a career politician? How is that a career? How is that a career?
My dad always says if they just make it where you can only have one term, everything would get better a lot quicker. Or I saw it's funny, it's like if the economy starts to fail, then why don't we start cutting lawmakers' salaries?
Yeah.
Or politicians' salaries because they're the one failing us. Well, I can't get this guy's name right now. I can't unless you can get it, Mudra. Look up Illinois State 2024 History Symposium. He should be the keynote speaker from Wisconsin Superior.
Yeah.
Well, either way, so he kind of let off saying that there is an assault on the academic field right now because of politicians like Ron DeSantis and Trump. And his key point was that because they wanted to be basically what DeSantis and Trump wanted to be, or just DeSantis wanted to be, is that we're going to teach history as like one factual narrative, which, I mean, I don't know what I think about that, but I feel like have the documents changed, or like the primary sources that we find, like how are things all of a sudden changing? Like you can like look at it a different way and make a claim, but at the end of the day, what happened. And so he was saying that, so he addressed that the 1776 report I sent, and it's I'm sorry. It's basically what Trump administration wanted to do for education because they were scared of what was going on with people like going in the classroom and being political with kids. And you don't have to be Republican, you don't have to be Democrat, but your students should have the opportunity to be whatever they want. Just give them like multiple views to look at. Don't be biased towards one because you know that's not your job. And he said he calls for a patriotic education that teaches the truth about America. That doesn't mean ignoring the faults in our past, but rather viewing our history clearly, wholly, and with reverence and love. Educators should teach an accurate history of how the permanent principles of America's founding have been challenged and preserved since 1776. States and school districts should reject any curriculum that promotes one-side partisan opinions, activist propaganda, or functional ideologies that demean America's heritage, dishonor our heroes, or deny our principles. Anytime teachers or administrators promote political agendas in the classroom, they abuse their platform and dishonor every family who's trust them with their children's education and moral development. And this is seen as negative.
Whoa.
Because they said, this guy said, is teaching people to love the country, isn't that political indoctrination? And I go, you're not teaching people to love the country. You're just teaching the facts. And if you look at, there are some bad things in our history, but we're free. You're probably going to, if you go compare us to other places in the world, you're probably going to end up loving this country. And he's all about changing the narrative. Let me change the narrative of this. Do you not think this is a response to what's going on in the classrooms, that people are being so political in the classrooms for their own political purposes and agendas that we have to now like lay it out for them that you can't do this?
Yeah, that's it. Like, where's the integrity of people that are coming up with this stuff? Like, where's the concern? You know, how many of those people have been to freaking Honduras and walked past concrete cinder block homes with no plumbing? Because I mean, it's almost as if like being patriotic is shunned in today's like America. That's what I feel like, at least. Like if you walking down like I remember being like a kid and like, America, you know, and I feel like obviously part of that was stemmed of like the whole you know, invasion of the Middle East, whatever. But like, I miss that, man. It's fun. It's fun to say America's the best and that we're the best and everything, and we're not. But it's fun. I don't know. I like to do it.
And how, like, you don't have to love the country, you don't have to like it, but I don't think we should be taught to hate it and only look at the negative parts when, I mean, there's a lot of great things here. Like, I'm not saying America's perfect. I'm saying it's a great country, though. I'm not, you know, like, there's no reason that your kids should come out saying, like, fascists.
Right.
You know?
Bigot.
Yeah. And it's just kind of disappointing because he continued to go through this and say that that's indoctrination, but and then he goes, but I wouldn't come, like, for example, you can't just teach one narrative like that, because I wouldn't come to a conference and shove something down your throat. And I'm like, what have we been doing for 50 minutes?
Right. What did he offer any response time? You guys could respond back at all?
Yeah, he did.
But
I didn't really say anything.
But can you? If you say anything, what's going to happen?
Well, let's see what's going to happen. The head of the history education department's there. The head of history is there. There's all these, my advisors there. And what's funny is, even if I asked a simple question like, so you're basically saying don't indoctrinate unless it's for these ideals, for this side. But if I say that, all of a sudden, now the people that are in charge of my future that give me grades can be a lot harder on me, etc. Although I will say have been some professors that I've challenged in my papers, and they graded me on like what I said rather than like if they agreed with it. So there are still good professors out there, but yeah, I had a professor last semester who said, well, he was asked like, why are you a socialist? And he goes, well, people get all, fired up if you identify as a communist, and people cheered for that. And then they're like, oh, but if you feel like you like this country, that's like an ick. That's what I hear in class. That's an ick.
Exactly, bro. Just go back to exactly what I was saying, bro. Like about how it's shunned to be patriotic. And I will say this too, like, I try to kind of keep quiet most of the time, like around class and stuff, just because, like, not only do I not want to cause any issues or strife or anything like that, but also like, I'm not gonna challenge anyone else's opinion as far as like because I feel like I'm not gonna change anyone else's mind,
No.
but I can at least say what I think, or I should be able to. And I had a professor the other day, and he's been he's pretty good. Like he's been more neutral, I think, as of recently, and then maybe because he found out I'm in his class, because he was like, we watched a movie and it was with Charlie Chaplin.
Oh yeah.
And there was a part where like there was 4 people like standing right in a row, and it was like, and they were military, and it was like the chain of command essentially. So it was like the higher up, and then like it went down the line. So like he turned around and told this guy to do something, and he turned around and told this guy to do. It was funny.
Yeah.
And so like I was sitting right in the front, and he was like, "What do you think was funny?" And I told him how I was like, I thought it was hilarious how like they were basically just pushing the snowball downhill, because that's exactly what happens in the military. He's like, "Well, how do you know?" So I was like, so I told him, I was like, "Well, I was in the Army, And he was like, "How long?" And I told him like almost 6 years, whatever else. And then it seemed like he was like, "Oh shit," like but.
Yeah, it's funny because it doesn't seem like people that are in the military are trying to like talk about it that much. I was actually lucky today. There was a good part of this presentation. It was later. It was not at the beginning. But they had 6 veterans come in. 2 were in the Korean War. 2 were drafted into Vietnam, or maybe 3 in Vietnam, and then 1 was a Army Ranger in like 2008. He recently got out. And so one of the guys was saying that we asked him, because someone asked, well, what was it like coming back home and like trying to adapt, like, because he's a teacher, so he went back to school. And he's like, did the kids ask you questions? He goes, I worked for years without telling anybody I was in the military. Mm-hmm. Just didn't say anything. And he's like, and then one Veterans Day, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna bring in my gear for the kids. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, they had some really awesome stories, and it was really nice to meet them. One guy, his father fought in the Battle of the Bulge, which
really?
I think that's one of the
awesome.
toughest humans to ever walk the earth.
101st, baby.
Yep.
Screaming Eagles.
Yeah. So it was really cool to hear what they had to say, and really sad to see kind of what the veteran, that the battle does not end when you get home. Sometimes it gets a lot worse, and that's really sad. So, sad that we're wasting money other places when we need to take care of the people that made this country free and made this country great. They were saying when one guy was in Vietnam, he said, I was allowed 1 phone call home a year. And now we're not going to recognize or put those people on a pedestal, like the sacrifices they make, and they're paying for them every day, with whether, it's something mental or they missed out with seeing their family. Like, it's just amazing, and I don't think a lot of people recognize the sacrifice it takes.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. Even though like everyone's story is different, like everyone's obviously, but it depends, man. Like some veterans are more open than others. Like I'm more open. I'll talk about it more. Like I tell and I have tons of stories. I tell Mujo stories like all the freaking time, like spur of the moment, tell him everything. And I saw this post the other day, and it was like pretty much spot on to what I think. My buddy posted it, but it was like it said every veteran, like, they may seem like an open book, and like there's like but there's lots of stuff that's like been redacted, from the stories, because it's just, I don't want to talk about it. But
yeah,
that's just how it goes, bro. I mean, I'm sure, and even like I'm sure everyone experiences that, but For my screenwriting class, I have to write like 3 short screenplays for like short films and stuff. So one of the short films that I want to do is going to be about the transitioning soldier, like because I was telling him like, bro, when you get out of the army, bro, you have to go through a year's worth of classes, bro, called SFL TAP, and you can do it a lot quicker than that. But like if you're trying to maximize your experience, it takes like a year. So I started like a year before I got out of doing those classes. And it's basically SFL TAP is Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program. And it's really good, actually. It's one of the few programs in the Army that I really like. But it's kind of like just helping, like teaching you how to be normal again, teaching you how to not just, to act like military. Because like when you come in, they break like the civilian mindset out of you and reform it to be what they want. And then once you get out, it's kind of like it's a big change. Like 22 veterans a day kill themselves is a statistic. And unfortunately, everyone who served, probably knows some. So like that's a big thing for me. Like I want to make this short film, and man, it's so tough because like being like going into filmmaking and going into like any type of creative art, it's like the best shit is always the stuff that's like from the heart, like from that hits home, like that is made with like a meaning, and not necessarily like meaning as far as trying to convey a message, but meaning of like, this is how I felt. This is what happened. This is what the people who go through this feel, and kind of like that first look experience. So I want to do a short film about the transitioning veteran and like what it's like, and and it's gonna be a challenge for me because it'll definitely be like opening up some things that have been closed for a while,
Yeah.
But I think that it'll be good. I think that it'll really be good.
Yeah, and you're not there's like you're probably putting on screen what other people feel too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason for me. Like the reason for me wanting to do it is not necessarily like just to show people. It's not to show people what I felt. That's not why I'm doing it.
Right.
It's that everyone who has felt like me can know that
Yeah.
it's not just them,
Yeah.
and that's what's so cool about like the veteran community is like you kind of feel that kinship with each other, and I don't know, like everyone, like I said, like everyone has their own different feelings about it. I'll talk about it all day, because I did a lot of cool stuff, but
that's what one of the veterans was saying, that there's like a stigma about PTSD, so a lot of guys try to play it tough and they don't want to like talk about what's going on. And so like I get what you like. I don't get it, but I get what you're saying about like it's going to be hard to open up. But like I feel like that it could be really influential because other people obviously feel like that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this crisis with our veterans. You know?
Yeah, that, and it's like the story's already written. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to spend time like trying to crank out a story. Like the story itself is written, and now I just have to reopen it. So it's like I don't know. It's pretty cool, but like. I got a bunch of buddies now. Like some of my buddies, like I got out of the Army as a sergeant, and I got 2 buddies who just made staff sergeant this past week. So shout out to Lonnie and my boy Hawthorne I went to basic with. So that was cool. But my boy Lonnie's in Texas right now.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. But he's in
not nice.
Yeah. Hey, pull up that video. When you get a chance. So I know someone. Let me show you from my phone. So I actually have a very close relationship with someone down who's in Texas right now. And they're like on the border, and you can go ahead and play it. She sent me this video. Yeah, you can look at it. That's just like right outside, like where she like that's right outside the border, bro. Because they're just coming in. Like this is a video she took. They're just coming in, and they just go right to the border patrol so they can start the asylum process. Look at that, bro. This video is texted to my phone. This isn't like any type of like secondary thing, or there's just tent cities just outside all over the place. Can you believe that? Look at that. This is a first-hand video. This isn't even like from off the news thing or anything. Like the person filming, I've known all my life. And they took this video with their phone and texted it to me.
I was watching the news the other day. And there was a lady on there, and she was talking about, because they were asking how everyone's pulling. And they asked them about like what's going on the border, and she's like, I'm an immigrant, and it makes me upset because my parents are still going through the process legally, and if they didn't do that and they crossed illegally, they would already have a lot of not assets, but some money, and they'd already be able to be in the country illegally, but it's fine, I guess. And she's saying like, it's just, like people are getting, like immigrants that want to do it right are getting punished for doing it right, while we're just dumping them in Chicago, taking a bus up from Texas to Chicago, a bus up from Texas to New York, and saying, all right, good luck.
Yeah, well, that's like Governor Greg Abbott from the governor of Texas.
Yes.
He's the one that's been busting all those people.
Yeah.
Because he's like, New York City, Chicago, they're all like, oh, these are sanctuary cities, and he's like, okay, bet.
Yeah.
And so he's just been busting them up there. Have you encountered that at all near Chicago, like immigrants being dumped off?
You know what? Yeah, I actually saw an article the other day that a bus going up to Chicago, they stopped in my hometown.
Seriously.
And I guess they let him off for a second. I don't know if it just stopped there, but I'm not really sure on that part. I don't know if they got off or it was just like a pit stop, but there was a whole newspaper article on it, and I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting.
So here's where I think the dilemma lies, because like just letting everyone into the country, like on the surface, like looking at it is kind of like, but I feel like the biggest counter argument against it is like, oh, well, when the Irish and the Germany came off the boats back when, they were just like they were, immediately citizens. So it's like, I get that too, but it's like, that's when the country was still kind of establishing, and now the country's established. So it's like, I feel like there's kind of a difference there. Like, this is so hard, because like, what was it, 200 years ago when the country was being established, there's a double-edged sword, because it's like, yes, all the people were coming in, so it's like, oh, that was a long time ago. But that's the same argument that they make about the Constitution.
Right.
Like, oh, that was a long time ago. So it's like,
yeah, I just think instead of wasting money giving masses amount of people an apartment, welfare, why don't we just use that money to improve the immigration system of getting in, so we can go make that system quicker, and so that way you get the best of both. They're doing it legally, and it can happen quicker. It's not going to take 3-4 years. Exactly. Why don't we put money into that to try to make that system quicker? That might solve some of the problems.
Exactly. Like, I know people who like, I have some really close friends who are like passport bros pretty much, and like, it's taken their wife like forever to get their papers and stuff. Like, their wife, man, like,
yeah.
But then like, I mean, it's just, there's no way that everyone coming into the country is an upstanding citizen. That's just not the case. I don't know. There's no way that's the case.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know, man. It's just, and the same thing with the Afghans too, bro. Like, when we were doing the Afghan refugee stuff, they were handing like every family like a cell phone, every family like, I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, it's hard whenever you see like, okay, have you seen Channel 5 at all? Channel 5 News on YouTube?
No, maybe. Probably not. Depends what you're about to bring up.
It's an independent journalist. Try to pull it up so you can show some clips. He's an independent journalist, but he's been doing like covering like the borders crisis and covering like the homelessness issues in America, like going to like Philly and San Francisco. Try to find that video of the kids walking through the needles and stuff if you can. But there's like the homelessness issues. Have you seen like the San Francisco, like what's going on in San Francisco right now?
Yeah, they cleaned it up for a little bit though.
Yeah, well, yeah. Once the China guy came, but yeah, no, like the homelessness there. Like, have you ever been to like North Philly?
No,
dude,
never.
I've been. It's like, it's insane. It doesn't feel like America. It doesn't feel like. Do you have it? I'm trying. Okay. Well, no rush. Whenever you get it, just let me know. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. So like, anyway, I just, it's hard to fathom that there's this many homeless, this much drug issues, the heroin, the fentanyl crisis. More teens are dying of fentanyl right now than anything else.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard of a girl who took a lot of students take Adderall when they're studying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I heard of a girl that took like a quarter of Adderall that was laced with fet, and she didn't know, died. Took a quarter of Adderall to study to keep up, because I don't know, have you ever had fentanyl? I have had fentanyl.
Really?
But in a hospital. Okay.
Oh, I was like
in a hospital. In a hospital. No.
Yeah, no.
When I got my appendix out, remember I told you about? I got my appendix removed.
Why did they give you?
It's a painkiller.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was created as a painkiller, but like, dude, you go to the moon like as soon as you like. The guy put it through my IV, and right before I went into surgery, And dude, it's like it's a very intense drug, bro. Like extremely intense. Like I was like sweating, like uncomfortable. Like
Yeah.
I remember the surgeon was asking me my name, and I was like, I don't even know what you're saying right now.
Wow.
Like so, and anyway, if you can, I don't know if you can find it. But there's this video this guy Channel 5 News did, where it's like the kids getting off the bus, having to wade through all the needles and like not just needles, but like all the people like shooting up right there on the sidewalk, man. And then like I've presented this before to people and been like, why are there fentanyl, drug, homeless issues that are rampant in the States, and yet we're doing like giving all the money to Ukraine and doing all the border stuff when it's like, how does this not get cleaned up? And their argument is always, well, oh, that's the city's job, or that's the state's job. Okay, so if we're distinguishing the difference between like the city, the state, and the federal government, how come whenever the the state of Texas puts up the you know what I'm saying, all the borders and the barbed wire and the sea wire and everything, and the federal government comes and bulldozes it down? So it's almost like, you know, the federal government decides when and where they want to like step in and when they're not to, you know?
Yeah, it's because people don't understand that with freedom, you have to be okay with things that like, if you want your freedom, you got to be all right that other people are gonna have a different type of, like, the same freedoms but different as well. Like, for example, and maybe that person thinks, oh, they shouldn't own guns in America, even though it's the Second Amendment. But you know, like, but people don't understand is like, this isn't like your like little fantasy world where it's gonna be exactly what you want. Like, people are gonna have their freedoms, and just because you don't like it doesn't mean we can't strip them away. Just because like you have a feeling, in class, I was they were talking about Japanese internment camps, and they asked the question, like, when is it okay for the government to infringe on your freedoms? Like, what level of fear? And I was like, no level of fear. A feeling does not outweigh your rights, you know? So that's what people don't understand, is they think that just because they have this vision of what they want, like, you can't just take other people's freedoms away and then be like, but I want this. You got to understand that being free comes with a lot of consequences, and I mean, that's just how it is, and we have to accept that. It's not a utopia. It never will be, but we can do our best to make it the best world we can, and that is by continuing to let people say whatever they want. I heard one of the candidates for the Republican primary, Vivek Ramaswamy, he said that it was James Madison, I believe. He said he knew the importance of freedom of speech, and that when you have freedom of speech, it means that the most heinous things are going to be said. But that's the sacrifice or the consequence of having that free speech, and that is worth it. You know, like, bad things come out of freedom, but that doesn't mean we should start taking away people's freedom, because no matter what, there's going to be bad things, and the more freedoms we take, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, and that's why freedom is so valuable, because it is a hard thing to attain and to have, and that's why, like, you know, Elon Musk talks about, well, why does Taliban have an X account? Well, because it's a free platform. You can post whatever you want, and that's exactly what you're saying. Like, if you can post the good things, in order to be free, there's gonna be some shit that comes with it too, you know. And I don't know, like,
literally, how is it possible that I can be given an article written by a college professor that does not go here, and it's saying that the 9/11 bombers were men of conviction, and everybody that was in the Twin Towers deserved to die because they supported the capitalistic system. And he compared the people in the Twin Towers to the Eichmann, who delivered the Jews to the concentration camp on a train. And he said that they all deserved to die, and if we didn't mess around in the Middle East, then this wouldn't be a problem. But if I say there's two genders, I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't have that opinion. Or there are certain opinions that are okay, while other opinions are not okay. Like, it's an opinion. That's literally the basis of freedom.
Let me ask you this. What is the purpose of school?
To indoctrinate.
Yeah.
Like, here's my thing. It's not always that way, but people who just blindly... It's history professors and history majors. They blindly will believe whatever the college teaches them. And it's like, look at history. How has education been used in every single country that's ever existed? Is to indoctrinate. So when you immediately accept whatever the professor is talking about, and you don't do your own research, and you just believe it because it's trendy, and you're not breaking the status quo. You are the status quo. Like, you are going into the indoctrination. I don't feel like that goes on in high schools as much, because You're pretty much learning math and science, and the history you're learning are the facts. There's no, like, really, there's not too much politics in it. You're learning about what happened, when, and what it caused. Then you get to college, and it's like, then they start doing all this crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, they're pretty slick at it too. They're slick. They do a good job of like,
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. I'm thankful for me coming in as a older person. If I were to come in, it's once you hear about, like, for someone that hasn't been around the university for a while, hearing you say that would probably sound bizarre. But like the way that they put it in and slip it in and implement it is so slick, dude. They do it so well.
Yeah.
To disguise it.
And I had a professor. She taught an EAF class, Education Administration, and she would tell us that it is impossible to treat everyone like the same, like with kindness. It's impossible, and it's an uneducated thing to say.
Why would she say that?
Because basically what they like to do is they like to say that it's literally built into their presentation. If you don't agree with this, then you're just denying it because you're the one benefiting from the privilege. Or I've literally read in this textbook, if a minority doesn't agree that the fact that they're oppressed, and they're oppressing themselves.
Right. Well, that's like yeah. That's insane. I mean,
like, why are we going to teach people to have a victim mindset? There are things that are bad, but at the same time, isn't it more beneficial to teach the American dream? You're still going to address the bad things and everything this country's done. Just because you like this country doesn't mean you're going to leave it out. But what I'm saying is, isn't it more beneficial to teach people to have aspiration and hope and a work ethic rather than, oh, if I fail, well, it was just built against me anyway.
Exactly, bro. But the victim card, that's the nuke card, bro.
Yeah.
That's the nuke card now. And the reason why I asked you what is the purpose of school, because it's like there's two things of what school should be and what it is. And I think what it is indoctrinating. What it should be, it could be, I think, one of two things. It should be either teaching facts or encouraging people to think for themselves. Problem solving, that type of thing. And they don't teach facts anymore, bro. And not in college.
No.
Like, me having to say my pronouns is not a fact. And to be honest, like, that kind of makes me uncomfortable. Like, whenever I'm told, like, I was in a class, bro, and they told me I had to say my pronouns, and I was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm sorry. I prefer.
Well, your feelings don't matter.
But yeah, exactly, bro. That's the thing.
It's okay
like,
if you're uncomfortable.
Me feeling uncomfortable, but that is the only way out of it. Is I have to be like, no, thank you. Like, because to be honest, like, it does make me uncomfortable. Like, the whole purpose of saying and I am totally with inclusiveness, and I'm totally about that. No one should feel alienated in class or in whatever else. But why do I have to participate? Why do I don't? If you could, like, look at me, man. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm clearly a man, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and for me having to tell people that I'm a man, that almost offends me, bro. That's almost like, are you serious? Like, I have to tell you that I'm a man? Like, seriously? Like, look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't tell that I'm a man, then I'm offended. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not really offended.
No.
But that's the only thing I could say to get out of it. Because that's how they do. I feel like they push you. They push just to where. And there's actually a book written about this. Joe Rogan talks about it all the time. But they push just to where you're like, hey, that's enough. And they chill out for a little bit. And then they push some more. And then, hey, that's enough. And then as soon as you're like, okay, that's enough. Like, how am I getting to the point in the place where, and I don't know, I'm not a hater, like, if you want to be, whatever you want to be, trans, bi, do your thing. It's America. That's the thing.
People fought for that, so
people
you get to do that.
Have fought for that. It's beautiful, that you can come to a place and do whatever you want. But I shouldn't be forced to participate alongside. That's just my thing.
Here's the thing. Freedom doesn't mean you will be accepted. Even if you have what's like normally the status quo, people still aren't going to accept you most of the time. I mean, how many friends does the average person have? So it's like you can't force people to accept things. You can't shove it down their throat. It's either going to accept it or they're not going to. Nobody should be in danger for that, but you can't say you have to believe this. Mm-hmm. You have to believe that. I don't have to believe anything. Mm-hmm. And it's just sad because now you're going to have, because we grew up when things weren't always like this. So we still know what the other perspective is like. But now you're going to get kids just out of ignorance because their professors or their teachers are like, you believe this. I don't care what your mom and dad taught you at home. I don't care about your morals, your religion. But if you don't believe this, you're a bad person. It doesn't matter how you treat people. You gotta believe this.
Yeah. Well, how long have we been going here? Like over an hour, probably, right? Okay, cool. You got anything else? Anything else you want to?
Oh,
talk
we gotta
about?
leave off on something positive.
Yeah,
we gotta leave
okay,
something on
right.
positive. You know, we've been in here. We've been in the trenches today. Yeah.
You know, it's funny because it's like I haven't really delved into these topics that much in the podcast yet, like political stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I try to avoid it because I don't want to avoid drama, but then I kind of question why am I avoiding it?
I don't think there's any drama here. I think a lot of people don't know what's going on in colleges and what's being taught because it was different when a lot of people went to college a long time ago, and we didn't say anything bad here. I mean, I'm sure someone's offended, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and why? Yeah, exactly. Like I try my best.
Are we not like we should be able to? You got to talk about things. You got to let people know.
Yeah.
We're just talking.
Yeah, it's just conversation.
Yeah,
and that's why I love doing this so much because it's fun, but it's just conversation. Yeah. But it's like I feel like for two guys just sitting here, like I don't know, I shouldn't feel apprehensive about posting it in fear of backlash. Because I don't know, bro. It's weird how it's kind of like that nowadays, like the fear of getting canceled and stuff. But
yeah, but at the end of the day, what is getting canceled?
Yeah.
Do we even have what? I'm canceled from Instagram. I'm not even on it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway,
some positive.
Moving forward. So I want to know what's next for you, man. So you're not coaching next year. ISC's done. Just fill me in on what's the plans, man? Do you know? I'm genuinely interested, bro.
Question.
And if you don't know, you don't know.
I'm gonna finish up this semester. Unfortunately, not coaching next year. I'm gonna go back because I'm student teaching at home. So I'm gonna coach one of the youth leagues up there. I love it because that's when you learn to love the game. And then I'm gonna student teach in the fall. I'm gonna graduate. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go into teaching right away. I think I got I may still work, but maybe take a year off of the school setting. I've only been in school for 17, 16 years, just get a break, refresh, rejuvenate, and then get back in there. And just you got to get away from the scene a little bit to get your mind straight and then just really enjoy it because it really is a good job. And I'm lucky to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you, bro. When I went to the Army, I was like, I'm never going to college, bro.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting my associate's degree online while I was in the Army, and then now I'm going with my bachelor's. But
nice.
I don't know. Do you have any questions about the Army? Ask me anything about it. I'll answer. I'm sure. I know it's probably hard on the spot, but if you've ever had any questions, I like talking about it.
So, one veteran said today, when he came back, it was really hard because you're going all the time in the Army, and then you come back and you're like, okay, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to do? I had one class today or, whatever you're doing. Did you feel that or a need to fill the void of time, or were you able to chill?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
You feel it. Because it's less I guess for me, the structure of the military is it was such a big change for me. Because everything is regimented down to literally everything, bro. They have regulations for literally everything, bro. How you dress, everything. And a typical day, let me just go through a typical day in the Army, right? So wake up at 6, go to PT at 6, or go to formation 6:15, PT, salute the flag, report, blah blah blah, do PT. Usually an hour for breakfast, shower up, change. Go to work, lift heavy shit, put up the T2C2, CPN, connect to a satellite, mess with it, working outside all day pretty much till 5. Then you have another formation so they can tell you that you have PT tomorrow morning, even though you already knew that. And you go home and they text you, hey, you have PT tomorrow morning. So it's everything's very regimented. Everything is very regimented. Let me put it like this: the rule is to be successful in the Army, just be at the right place at the right time in the right uniform.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing because everything else is taken care of, bro. Your housing is paid for, all your bills are paid for. You go to the doctor, you're gonna get scrutinized for going to the doctor because they're gonna call you a pussy.
Yeah.
But the medical treatment is free. When I had my surgery, my appendix removed, you know,
Yeah.
free. But so like all that stuff is taken care of, and all that's all of your mental capacity, your physical capacity is being put towards the mission, whatever it is, you know. So it's like if you're actually on a mission, it's like even more so. But if you're like in the garrison, like just chilling on base, they usually just create shit for you to do.
Yeah.
And but you're always busy, always busy, always busy. So like for me, coaching this past year was a huge help for me, bro. Like going from, because when I got out of the Army, like it's really hard because like I may have said this before, but like once you are done, like I was living in Kansas on Fort Riley, and like they gave me my papers. I turned in my barracks key, and it's like all I have is what's in my car, so I just have to drive off. And then all the like my time had been structured out to a T for the last 6 years, and now every second of the day is up to me. And so really what I think it takes a strong-willed person and an ambitious person, because getting out of the Army is a challenge. Like people, I feel like veterans don't kill themselves because they can't do it. They're just like, fuck it. Like they're just like, it's just so like, man, it's hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. It's really one of the things I just gotta show.
Is it just like losing a sense of purpose?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because it's like, you know, especially for guys who aren't ambitious, really. Like for me, you know, I'm honestly blessed that I've not had crazy thoughts like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I consider it a blessing because I've seen it firsthand, and it's like, it's challenging, but like I had the podcast going on, you know, I had coaching I'd go to all the time. So like kind of just keeping yourself regimented and keeping yourself goal focused is really the way out of that. So like, you know, like I was saying, I had the podcast, I had the coaching, I had school, but planning, like the SFL TAP class I was telling you about before you get out, that like they kind of help you plan out your stuff.
Yeah.
And so I had a good plan. I had a solid plan, and come back to call, you know, here now, because I was set to go to ASU, and my boy was out there, and I was going to go to ASU, and then Brody offered me the job to coach DBs, and I was like, it's right next to home.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I came here, man, because having the family right there has been a big help. But yeah, keep yourself focused on goals, stay around good people. That's the best advice.
Yeah.
I love it because that's what's so great about the podcast is I can just, like, we can talk about whatever we want, bro. Like, we can talk about whatever we want. And like for me, like if I want to spend like episode 4, I think it was, me and my older brother did an hour-long breakdown of Star Wars video games, bracket style, and it's like I can do that because if I want to, because freedom.
All right, I say we finish off. If we're close, Super Bowl prediction.
Oh, I want the Chiefs to lose.
I think everyone in America besides St. Louis wants, like Missouri, wants the Chiefs to lose.
Dude, I lived in Kansas for 2 years. And I was a fan of the Chiefs when I lived there, bro. Like 2022 when they won the Super Bowl, I was like, woohoo, you know, like. But now I'm like, man, it's just Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm not really a fan of him anymore because after he's like raging on the sideline, but.
They're just a lot of show, like they play good football because they're in the Super Bowl, obviously. But there's a lot more circus going around, and I don't
it's
like.
A show.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I just love it because you know what, Purdy's getting a bunch of hate. McCaffrey's an amazing player.
I love McCaffrey.
I think it'd be cool to see them win. And honestly, I would have liked to see the Ravens or the Lions win it.
Me too.
But anybody that'll beat the Chiefs, I'm a fan of. So
me as well.
Yep.
All right.
It's like whoever's playing the Packers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. But thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
Yeah. Let's do this again.